In a revelation that has stunned royal watchers worldwide, a daring theft of Queen Camilla's personal jewelry occurred in 2022, yet Buckingham Palace succeeded in keeping the entire incident secret for 3 years. The extraordinary cover-up, designed to shield the monarchy from public embarrassment, has finally been exposed through an upcoming biography by respected royal correspondent Robert Jobson. Serialized extracts from his new book, The Windsor Legacy, published in the Daily Mail, lay bare one of the most astonishing security breaches in recent royal history. The incident took place at a particularly sensitive moment. In the spring of 2022, the then Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall, now King Charles III and Queen Camilla, were en route to the airport for an official tour of Canada. Amid the meticulously planned departure involving multiple vehicles, staff, protection officers, and luggage, a catastrophic oversight occurred. During a brief stop at a public rest area, a bag containing some of Queen Camilla's jewelry was left unattended inside an unlocked car. Within minutes, an opportunistic thief seized the bag and vanished. By the time the royal aides realized their mistake, the priceless items were gone. What makes this episode almost unbelievable is not merely the theft itself, but the fact that it remained completely hidden from the public, the press, and even most palace insiders for years. In an era of relentless media scrutiny, where every royal outing is photographed, analyzed, and dissected on social media within seconds, the institution managed to impose total silence. No police appeals were issued, no media statements released, and no public admission ever made. The stolen jewelry simply disappeared, along with any official acknowledgement that the crime had taken place. Veteran journalist Robert Jobson describes the palace's decision as a deliberate act of damage limitation. Senior courtiers judged that news of such a basic security failure, leaving valuable royal possessions unguarded in an unlocked vehicle at a roadside stop, would inflict lasting reputational harm. The optics were disastrous. The future king and queen portrayed as careless, their staff incompetent, and the entire royal security apparatus exposed as fallible. With 2022 already a year of intense focus on the monarchy, Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee celebrations dominated the national mood, and the royal family was acutely aware of the looming succession. The palace calculated that silence was the lesser evil. The choice to suppress the story rather than investigate it openly raises profound questions about transparency and accountability within one of the world's most scrutinized institutions. Unlike previous royal thefts that became immediate international headlines, such as Michael Fagan's 1982 intrusion into Queen Elizabeth II's bedroom, or the 2007 burglary at Princess Michael of Kent's residence, this incident was buried so deeply that even seasoned royal correspondents remained unaware until Jobson's research unearthed it. Details about the stolen items themselves remain frustratingly vague. The serialized extracts do not list specific pieces, nor do they disclose their monetary or sentimental value. Were these historic jewels inherited from previous generations? Personal gifts from King Charles during their long courtship? Regularly worn items that the public would instantly recognize from state banquets and diplomatic receptions? Or were they private, less ostentatious pieces kept for personal use? The absence of specifics only heightens speculation. If the jewelry was of minor significance, the extreme secrecy seems disproportionate. If, however, the items were irreplaceable heirlooms or carried deep personal meaning for Queen Camilla, the decision to prioritize image over recovery becomes even more controversial. The timing could scarcely have been worse. Throughout 2022, the royal family was navigating a delicate transition. Queen Elizabeth II's health was visibly declining, Charles and Camilla were assuming ever greater responsibilities, and the institution was working hard to present a united, dignified front during the Platinum Jubilee festivities. Just months after the Canada tour, in September 2022, the Queen passed away, propelling Charles and Camilla into their new roles amid a whirlwind of mourning and constitutional change. A story about stolen royal jewels and a comical security blunder would have been an unwelcome distraction at best, a damaging embarrassment at worst. Security surrounding the British royal family is among the most sophisticated in the world. Royalty protection officers, advanced reconnaissance teams, encrypted communications, and decades of refined protocols are all designed to prevent precisely this kind of incident. That a simple human error, leaving a bag in an unlocked car, could undo all of that planning exposes the fragile reality behind the carefully cultivated aura of invincibility. Somewhere in the chain of command, a staff member failed to follow basic procedure, and no amount of elite training could compensate for that momentary lapse. What happened next inside the palace walls can only be imagined. Aides likely faced intense internal recriminations. Protection officers would have conducted urgent reviews. King Charles and Queen Camilla, informed of the loss, must have experienced a mixture of anger, disappointment, and resignation. Yet rather than trigger a public investigation that might have increased the chances of recovery, the institution closed ranks. The theft was classified, the police involvement kept to an absolute minimum, and staff were instructed never to speak of it. 3 years later, the jewels remain missing. Without the oxygen of publicity, no photograph circulated, no serial numbers registered with international art and antiques databases, no reward offered, the trail has gone cold. The pieces may have been broken up and sold anonymously, melted down, or simply sit unrecognized in a private collection. Their ultimate fate is almost certainly sealed. This episode lays bare the enduring tension at the heart of modern monarchy, the conflict between preserving an image of timeless dignity and embracing the transparency expected of publicly funded institutions. The royal family's security, properties, and much of their lifestyle are subsidized by British taxpayers through the sovereign grant and other mechanisms. When that security fails in such a basic way, many argue the public deserves to know, not least because openness might have aided recovery of the stolen items. Critics will say the cover-up has achieved the opposite of its intended effect. By burying the story, the palace avoided short-term embarrassment only to face far greater scrutiny now that the truth has emerged. The revelation paints the institution as secretive and elitist, more concerned with protecting its mystique than holding itself accountable. Supporters, however, may contend that constant media feeding frenzies over every mishap would render the monarchy impossible to operate. In their view, discreet handling of minor incidents is a necessary evil in an age of relentless exposure. The incident also invites comparison with past royal scandals that were handled openly. The 1982 Fagin intrusion led to immediate resignations and a wholesale overhaul of palace security. Public knowledge forced improvement. By contrast, the secrecy surrounding the 2022 jewelry theft means we do not know whether anyone was disciplined, whether protocols were strengthened, or whether the same vulnerability still exists today. For Queen Camilla personally, the loss, whatever its scale, must have been painful. Many of her most cherished pieces carry deep sentimental value. Some inherited, some chosen together with Charles over decades, others marking significant moments in their shared journey. To suffer that loss in silence, unable to acknowledge it publicly or seek assistance in recovery, adds a human dimension to what might otherwise be dismissed as mere institutional embarrassment. As King Charles and Queen Camilla continue to define their reign, this resurrected scandal serves as a reminder that no amount of protocol can fully insulate the monarchy from human error, or from the long-term consequences of choosing secrecy over candor. The palace may have kept the story hidden for 3 years, but history, aided by diligent journalism, has finally brought it into the light. Whether this revelation will prompt greater openness in future, or simply reinforce the instinct to control the narrative at all costs, remains to be seen. For now, a small bag of Queen Camilla's jewelry, vanished during a momentary lapse at a British rest stop, has become an unlikely symbol of the perennial struggle between image and truth at the heart of the world's most famous royal family.